What's up, you guys? You're watching Sergio's Secret. Before I get started with today's video, if you are interested in knowing secrets as a formal luxury retail sales associate, if you like contemporary and designer fashion, well, this is your channel, so go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any one of my uploads. Today we are going to be doing a Q&A of questions that I got asked. Designer sales associate that has sold millions of dollars worth of merchandise, my time there. I'm going to be answering all the juicy questions that you guys asked me. And first of all, are we here for this Versace fantasy moment? This little Versace jungle print. This is what I'm actually wearing on my birthday. So I'm filming a couple days before my birthday. So I think I may post this on my actual birthday. It's September 4th. This is the outfit that I'm gonna be wearing. And then I have the matching shorts too. So I decided to give this gay Versace fantasy moment some realness, period. But if you could give this video a thumbs up so more people can watch this video, because this is going to be a juicy video. And go ahead and follow me on Instagram, and I post videos Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Texas time. Without further ado, I have my phones right here, and we are going to go ahead and start answering the questions, because you guys were asked some really great questions. A question about my time working retail, I'll answer it 100%, and you guys know I am 100% transparent in everything that I talk about. I do talk quite a lot, so I would try to go through everything pretty fast, pero ya sabes que yo sí hablo mucho. So let's go ahead and say. So the first one says, into that Nordstrom 1,000 times and never saw you. I was always there, 40 hours a week, 5 days, always there. Next question is the most uncomfortable situation you've ever been with. I have many. I have stories for days. I've worked there for almost 3 years, so I have stories for days. So I'll give you one that happened not too long ago. So there was this customer looking at Chloe handbags. It was a male, and I asked him if he needed help with anything. It was on a Sunday. I remember I was about to have a Sunday fun day after work, and I was already kind of like in a nice and bubbly mood, and he had asked me how much I'd give for his girlfriend. And so I said, okay. So normally the questions that I ask, and I always say it in a nice and polite way. You guys know I'm not rude, no soy grosero. Yes, I do a lot of hand movements. But I asked him, what price were you looking for? Are you looking for more contemporary? Are you looking for more designer? Or are you open? Class? She's looking more of a classy girl. Does she like more black handbags or neutral handbags or something fun? What are you looking for? And I guess in the sense when I said price point, I guess he got kind of offended, and so he was like, no, I want to look at this handbag right here. And I said, oh, okay, so this is going to be the Chloe Marcy. I said it comes in 4 sizes. This one's going to be $9.90. It's a nice bestseller. Everybody seems to really like this one. It's always a hit every time somebody buys it. We have the larger one that's $14.90, and then we have like the satchel that's $17.50 and then $19.90. And I said, you know, usually people don't get the smaller satchel, they usually get the larger one. The smaller one will always get returned in exchange for the larger one. Me explaining everything in a nice and polite manner. He was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I didn't ask you for the prices. I just said that I wanted to look at this bag. So he definitely went off on me. And in that case, I said, okay, sir. And I went to the back, and I did not come out until he left. And I had let some people know on the floor that the reason why I left on the floor is because A, he was very rude and disrespectful, and B, he just took it offensive. But like I said, these are questions that I ask everybody. First and the last time that someone has ever, you know, talked to me that way, and he used profanity, and I'm not going to be disrespected. And one thing you'll notice about me when people ask me these questions, I did not allow for me to be disrespected or me be belittled. I did not tolerate that at all. And if that means I have to walk out, if I tell you I'm not going to give you service, I did it. And every single time that happened, and I read every situation pretty well, I always got backed by a manager or a store manager. Every decision that I did it the proper and the correct way and the professional way, but I would never ever allow myself to be disrespected, never. So the moment he said that, I just went to the back. I'm like, I'm not doing with this. I had a great Sunday fun day, and it was a great story time to talk about while having drinks with the homeboys. Was your pay, and did you earn commission? So mine was 100% commission. So when I worked at Nordstrom'S, I believe I was making $13 an hour. I could be wrong. And then when I worked at Full Line, it was 100% commission. There was maybe like 2 or 3 times where I made base pay, and trust me, those checks really sucked, especially right after Christmas, or like even right now in the autumn. Believe it or not, it gets really slow because people are preparing for the winter season and for Christmas shopping. And so there was a couple times, I remember one particular day I only sold 1 pair of Ray-Bans, and it was a closing shift, and it was probably one of the worst days ever working there. But it was 100% commission. I've had checks that were $7,000, but I've also had checks that were $500. But I would say my checks within Nordstrom were always a pretty penny, I will say that. What was your position and what department did you work in? My position was a sales associate. My previous manager, we have talked about management roles and stuff like that. That was just not something that was lucrative enough for me to take. And you'll understand as I kind of talk about it, because I worked at one of the top 5 Nordstroms in the company. So Nordstrom North Park makes so much money, and so there are sellers that make a lot more money than even department managers. So through my standpoint, through me working at that particular store, it was more lucrative to become a sales associate more than a manager or assistant manager, because you would make a lot more money and you don't have the responsibility of dealing with drama, dealing with scheduling, dealing with this and that, meetings, blah, 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 blah. It was more lucrative to be a sales associate in my particular store. So for example, like the Dallas Galleria or like Stormbright in Frisco, it may be more lucrative to be an assistant manager because it's not a very high volume store compared to North Park, you know what I mean? So it would always be more lucrative to be a sales associate than being a manager or assistant manager, because it would be people that would make well over 6 figures just by being a sales associate. And then in department, I worked in accessories. So accessories meant soft accessories, so like your Burberry scarves, your halogen, designer handbags, so all the designer handbags that we've had, bridge handbags, which is going to be your contemporary brands, eyewear, which is going to be all of glasses that are key Australian up. I would nibble into jewelry here and there. You get discounts at luxury boutique within Nordstrom, discount at Chanel, and etc. So at my time, and I wish I would have purchased more Chanel. So when I worked there, all my time until maybe like 6 months ago, you could actually get your discount on Chanel items, and it could be everything except classic flaps, and I believe the wallet on chain, but everything else, guys, you could get your discount. So me working there, I had 20 and 33, so I could get a discount on like my Chanel 19. I got my 33% off of it. A trendy bag, you could get your discount on it. Anything that's not a classic flap and all ready to wear, all shoes, you could get your discount on it. Now that Chanel went into concession, so now it's not Nordstrom owned product, it's Chanel owned product, and Chanel owns that boutique themselves. They pay rent to Nordstrom, so now you cannot get your discount. The only thing you can get your discount on Chanel through Nordstrom is going to be their beauty products, it's going to be eyewear, and it's going to be shoes, because those are Nordstrom bought items. So those are the items that you can get your discount now on. Previously, you could get your discount on like a Chanel brooch. I think I showed you guys like a Chanel wallet that I bought. I got my discount on that. I got 33% off a classic card holder that I ended up giving to my brother. I will say if I would go back in time, I would buy a Chanel trendy and get 33% off of it, because that was amazing. And I know many of my coworkers bought like many bags from Chanel because you were able to get your discount on. But even through Neiman's and other stores, you don't get your discount on Chanel anymore. It's going to be within Chanel themselves if you do want like fashion other than shoes. Prada, you did get your discount on Prada. If you had 33, it would cap out at 30, so it would either be 20 or 30, and you would be able to use it on everything except nylon reissue items. So that's why I bought my bucket hat at the Prada store. That's why I bought my reissue bag in London, because I didn't get my discount on that. But anything that's more leathery, or I think even the Cello bag or the CeeLo bag, I could get my discount on that. I would be able to get 20% off or 30. I'm gonna see, back then Gucci went into concession, so kind of same thing. Eyewear, beauty, and shoes you can get your discount on, but you cannot get your discount on Gucci handbags and accessories anymore unless it gets returned and it's from before they went into concession. I'm trying to think what other brands. I think those are the main ones. Chanel, Prada, and Gucci were the kind of the main ones that were asking. And Louis Vuitton, you did not get your discount at Louis Vuitton at all. Employee discount at Nordstrom, love you and so happy for you. So my discount, so I had All Stars, so for a year and some change I had 33, and then for prior and then after I did have 20. So I was never a manager, because I know I did get questions asked about that, because managers do get 33. But if you are an all-star, or if you do reach Pacesetter, which is the top sellers in your department, you do get 33% off for that following year and some change. So it was either 20 or 33 within the span, but right now towards the end it was 20% off. What was my least part working there? My least part working there was Probably the hours and working weekends. Obviously those are the times where you can make a lot more money. There'd be days in like I would work sunglasses and I would make $5,000 on 9% commission, so that's $450 after tax, maybe like 300 some change just by selling glasses. There would be days where I would have $10,000 days on the weekend and I would sell 6.75% off on handbags, 9% on eyewear. Or well, a lot of crossing that I would do is when somebody would buy Tory Burch handbags, I would walk them and I would sell them a pair of Tory Burch Miller sandals. That was one of my favorite things. I would sell Miller sandals, not always, but I would sell a couple Miller sandals. The favorite part was working weekends and missing birthday parties, missing, you know, just like life things, because I'm young and I want to experience those things. And that was one of the major factors of why I left, was because I wanted to have the freedom to do whatever, whenever I want. And if I want to go to Austin a weekend, or if I want to get flown out to New York, I can do that and I don't have to worry about me calling in or whatever. So I think I really started to notice that when I went to Chicago for the weekend. I remember I called out to go to Chicago. I said I just said I can't make it into work, but then everybody saw that I went to Chicago via my Instagram stories. And so I just didn't want to miss life opportunities for a retail job. If my position was a little bit higher, then maybe it would change my mind. But at the end of the day, I was a retail worker, regardless if I was selling an H&M shirt or if I'm selling, you know, a $3,000 Givenchy handbag. At the end of the day, it's retail. But my least favorite part was just missing life opportunities and just missing life things. Like I want to see my parents out on the weekend. I want to have brunch with my mom. Our other one was the returns. The returns were bad, and I'll make a whole other video on that. But I just didn't really care for the returns that were over 6 months, because I find that that's just disservice, kind of a slap on the face on my part. You know, if I sold a Givenchy handbag and it's trashed and it's used and we accept that return, that's like $2,000. That's like what, 8%? That's like $160 right out my mouth. I think that was very disservice, and I understand it's part of the game, but I just didn't like returns. I didn't like returns that were used, is what I'm trying to say. If something was a manufacturer defect, like recently we had a Givenchy bag that had a little defect, oh honey, return it. I don't care if it was used, return it. But if something was genuinely used and trash that I sold, I would be pretty upset about it. Or like if you would use your Chanel glasses for like 6 months straight and then you just come, you throw them in my face and tell me to return them, I'd be pretty upset about that. And the fact that we would always, you know, take a lot of those returns would really upset me. A, because it's a slap on the face for the brand, and B, it's a slap on the face for me because the item is used and trash. We have to damage that out, and now I'm in the hole for $500. Like I said, it's part of the game, but that was one of my least favorite part of working there. Next question is, how long did I work there for? I worked at Victoria's Secret like a couple days after I turned 18, and I think I started Nordstrom in around like the beginning of October. So I want to say almost, it was like maybe like 2 years and like 8 months or 10 months. I'm just gonna say 3 years. So 3 years I worked there because it feels like it was well over 3 years. How much did you make on commission versus base salary? Base salary, when I worked there, I think it was 10, and then it turned into 12, and I think now it's like 13.05 or something like that if you didn't meet your sales quota. And as far as commission, it would vary. Like I said, there'd be checks that would be $7,000, there'd be checks that would be $2,000, there'd be checks that would be, you know, $3,500. Especially prior to COVID, there was a lot of money to be made in my department. And the thing is, it was very easy for me to sell a handbag. Is very easy. So this is the Saint Laurent Kate bag. We have them in these colors. I think you should try this one on. Let me unlock it. You should try this. You should try that. It was very natural to sell that. For me, that's why I liked accessories, because I didn't have to go into I didn't have to sell shoes, and I didn't want to go and bring out 10 million shoes and nobody buys anything. I didn't have to, you know, do alterations for clothing, even though I did do that for certain customers. I liked an accessory because it's very easy and simple to sell. It's like you can take out all the handbags, and for me, I would be so happy to put them right back. So it would just kind of vary, but I would say I would make about maybe anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200 every 2 weeks. And I'll bring out pay stubs and stuff later on in different videos, but I would say around there, anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200 I made roughly. So I would for the most part, I would always make commission, except a couple times where I did make base, and getting base was awful, but it is what it is, and it's part of the game. Would you be selective on what you showed certain customers, or how often in essays did? I wouldn't be selective. For me, I would just kind of vibe the customer out. So obviously we have, Nordstrom carries a lot of brands. Our Nordstrom, It's a top volume, but we don't have like a lot of brands as far as like handbags. So we don't have Saint Laurent handbags out on display. We don't have the Row. We don't have Bottega Veneta. And a lot of it has to do, it's more political because Neiman Marcus is based in Dallas, and a lot of designers would much rather be sold through Neiman Marcus than Nordstrom. So we did get the short end of the stick when it came to handbags and accessories. That being said, it depends what the customer asks for. If a customer asks for something, I would be more than happy. So if they were looking for Saint Laurent handbags, like which one are you looking for? Are you very open? And if we had 10 Saint Laurent handbags, I would bring them all out and I would show them. And if they didn't buy anything, I didn't care. For me, I was always very great spirit. I always had really great intentions. And for me, yes, I would love to sell, but I also like to do a lot of product knowledge on customers, especially when it's their first designer handbag or they don't know anything, or if it's a guy. Like, I would love to sell handbags, and I would love to give the history and the meaning behind a lot of items. So like a Troy Bridge Ella tote, it's waterproof, it's vegan leather, it's under $200, it's a great price point. This has been her collection for 5 years. It's a really great purchase. He or she is gonna love it. It has a magnetic closure. Like, I just love kind of saying all these details. But for the most part, I would show whatever the customer asked me, and if we genuinely did have it, I would go above and beyond for the client, always. And that doesn't, and for the most part, even if that didn't mean a sale, if I knew going in, I'm just looking around, I would be more than happy to always help out, because I like to talk a lot. As you can see, that's why I have each channel. Did you make more at Nordstrom or on YouTube? I made more on a kind of reverse. So before COVID, I would make more on Nordstrom, and then kind of after COVID, I think once the stores started opening back up with affiliate links, definitely started to make up a lot more of my income than Nordstrom. So then Nordstrom started to become more of my kind of like my chill area where I get to come in and kiki, and all my coworkers would be like, oh, Sergio's here. Like, it would be like a fun and a party. People would love to, you know, talk to me and then kiki with the girls. I could take a little Starbucks break, you know, sit myself down, and, you know, when customers would come, I would love to talk and talk and talk and talk, because, you know, sometimes I would be at home and I wouldn't do anything, or I would be at home just working from home. And so for me, I would always love to go and talk to customers. Oh, what are you looking for today, girly? You're looking for Chanel glasses, Celine glasses. Oh, I have this one. I think that's gonna look amazing on you. So for me, I always, after COVID, after stores started opening back up, I did make a lot more YouTube and affiliate links, way more than Nordstrom. But then I also have other streams of income that I've talked about. So it all kind of matched into a really great monthly income. But it started to become a point where, do I want to continue working at Nordstrom, or should I just focus everything on YouTube as far as just fun? Because basically, essentially, it's the same thing. It's like I'm talking to you as a friend or maybe as a client, and for me, it's just very second nature. And so for me, I decided that it would be a lot better because I'm more able to talk about a lot more things in my experiences. So I would say towards the end, YouTube definitely was the money maker, if I'm being quite honest. What does an all-star mean at Nordstrom? Customer service to the client. You go above and beyond, and that's something that I always did for every single customer. If a customer wanted something wrapped, if a customer wanted, you know, whatever they wanted, I would do. If it was within reason, I would always go above and beyond. And that was when I worked at Nordstrom Rack, and that was when I worked at Full Line Nordstrom. I would always go above and beyond for all my customers. Fold everything nicely, put a little tissue paper. You know, babe, if they get loose, your glasses, come back and I'll fix them up for you. Or do you want me to adjust your glasses? Do you want me to clean the glasses that you already have on that are not even from Nordstrom? I would always go above and beyond for customers. So for me, that's what it also means, is just going above and beyond for clients. And that's something that I always did for every single customer. And everybody that has ever met me, or if I ever sold something to you, you know that I was always one of the girlies, and I was always super nice and super sweet to every single person that I've ever met. Obviously, we all have our days, but 99% of the time, I was always 100% nice and friendly with everybody. What did you like about retail, the pros and the cons? The pros were just meeting customers. All my best friends, all my best friends came from Nordstrom. I have so many clients that turned into my friends. One of my closest friends, I met him when I first started working 18, and we are so close. We hang out all the time. I have literally have made all my friends and people that I consider family all through Nordstrom. So I think that's one of the biggest pros, coming from high school, coming from getting bullied, harassed, Nordstrom, to being loved and accepted for the person that you are. That was probably the biggest pro. Getting the discounts was a really big pro. Having relationships with all the vendors, you know, talking to a Tom Ford rep, talking to Kate Spade rep, talking to a Tory Burch rep. Just so much funness what came from Nordstrom. So much funness. The only con, like I said, was just probably working the hours, and I think for me the cons were just the longer shifts, and also working on the weekends. I think those were the biggest cons. Everything else was absolutely great. I love to do the truck. I would love to come on a Saturday morning, come in at 8 in the morning. I see the truck. I said, oh yes, Marc Jacobs tote bag, Burberry bucket hat, halogen cashmeres, and I would like do the truck. I would put my AirPods on. I would be jamming out, be ready and be in the mood. And then once store opened, once my coworkers came, okay girl, let me go get my coffee, get my little gay coffee, sit down for a little bit because I just did the truck, I just broke a little sweat, and then go back out on the floor, kiki with all my coworkers, kiki with all the clients, and just have a jolly old time. So there was very not a lot of bad things that I could say, except just working weekends and the occasional bad customer, but I always liked it because it would always bring a story time, so I will say that. So the next question is, do all Nordstrom pay by commission only? If you work in beauty, you get an hourly, and then you get 3% commission, and then in certain departments, like I think at home, and I think those two were the only departments that you did make an hourly, just because by the price point of the item that you would sell in that department. But everything else was commission only, and if you didn't make commission, you would make a base hourly, which would be $13 now, which absolutely sucks. I cannot sustain my lifestyle off of $13 an hour, but I did work by commission only. So by what I sold, my performance was how much I would be able to take home. But like I said, everybody would always sell. Sergio did not really care about sales. The sales always came to me. When people were coming to ask questions, like even with like my other coworkers, I was never like a shark. I would never take nobody's sales. Like if somebody's day off and they're exchanging, and they take 30 minutes to exchange out a bag, I would save it because I always feel like that would be good karma. There would be those same coworkers would probably not do the same for me. I've seen coworkers take my sales while I was at lunch, or when it was my day off, even though I've done the same for them. I didn't care because at the end of the day, I knew in my head, God taught me right, my parents taught me well, just put good energy out there, and I would save it regardless if that person has done me dirty and the wrong. It was straight commission, but the commission always came to me. I was a seller, I was just very knowledgeable, and when the customer came in, the customer always left very happy. And so I was one of the top sellers. I wasn't the top seller because I wasn't super passive aggressive, but I was one of the top sellers. And one thing I will say, out of every single manager that I've ever had and every single sales associate, they've always asked me questions. I was the most knowledgeable person about everything. If somebody had a question about Tory Burch, I had the answer. If somebody needed a UPC for a Gucci bag, but that's 5 years ago, I had the UPC. If somebody needed this or that or this or that, or on my days off, Sergio's Secret had the answer for it. So I will say I was the most passionate person working there, and I knew any and everything, and I was always ready to learn. And when we got a new brand, I was there when Dagny Dober got introduced. I met the Dagny Dober CEO, I got the backpack, and so I know everything about Dagny Dober. Or when we had a long shop, I would actually read through the things when I got home. I would actually know the story about long shop. So for me, I was the most knowledgeable person on the sales floor. How did you get Chanel handbags from Nordstrom? Through Chanel boutiques inside Nordstrom before they turned into concession. So the Nashville store on Tennessee has one, store number 1, which is in downtown Seattle. I believe, I forgot the other stores, but there was a couple of them. San Diego had a Chanel boutique inside of it. One in LA area had one. There was like maybe like a few of them. Minnesota, Mall of America had a Chanel boutique. And I think maybe Aventura Mall in Florida, I think they have a Chanel boutique too inside Nordstrom. Since you got 33 off a Chanel bag, were you a manager? I thought it was 20. If you have All-Star, you get 33. So that's how I got 33% off my Chanel 19. My biggest sale ever, I could say my biggest day in sales, I think one day I sold like $20,000, which was amazing around Christmas time. I think it was like a corporate sale. And then I remember this one lady. It was an older lady. She was like a realtor, and she said, I want to buy gifts for all my realtors. And she was like, here, I need 10 gifts for 10 guys and 10 gifts for 10 women. Pick out your top 10 bestsellers for men's glasses, your top 10 bestsellers for women's glasses, and I want to get a designer scarf for all the women and a tie for each one of the guys. And that was a really nice sale, and it just happened out of nowhere, and it wasn't even holiday season or anything. She said, I have some great news. I forgot what it was. She was so nice, and that was probably one of the sales that I can remember. That was probably a really nice and fun sale. But those corporate sales were actually pretty good when somebody wanted to buy like 30 Tory Burch you know, handbags or like a bunch of Ray-Bans. Those ones were also really good corporate sales. So corporate sales were my biggest sales, but I've had very big number of days and I've had very small number of days. Like I said, I would always take everything for with a grain of salt, and I just had a great attitude me working there. What was your worst customer experience? One of my worst customer experience, so I will make a video about this, but one of the things that irritated me a lot was the return policy for designers. So every time we were to sell designer, there's like a little pamphlet that says your new purchase is amazing. If you like it, if you want to return it, it has to be in brand new, unworn condition with the tags, with the dust bag, with everything. And for me, like I said, I was the one that would know everything, and I was not afraid to tell a customer no. So every shift, everybody would tell you this, I was the handbag verification person. I was the person that would always verify everything that was designer, that was getting returned, as far as a handbag. When they needed somebody to call from customer service or on the sales floor, I would be, here you go, Sergio, take care of this return. And even if I was helping another customer, I would flip it, I would make my other coworker take care of it, and I would accommodate that return. So one of my worst experiences ever was this lady wanted to return this Gucci Soho disco that was 5 years old. It literally had holes. It was disgusting. The zipper had makeup. She wanted to return it, and I told her absolutely not. There's no way that I could accommodate this return for you. Like, no way. Like, it's 5 years old. It is absolutely trash. I am not going to return it for you. And because that's a disservice for Gucci, but that's just a disservice in general, because now we have to take a hit and a loss. Back then, when I cared a lot, towards the end, I noticed that they just didn't really care. They would just take the hit, keep it moving. But I remember when the manager in charge that day did not back me up, and they returned that bag, and I was pretty upset, because it made me feel like less than, or feel kind of dumb. Like, you know, these are the policies, these are procedures, but the bag was absolutely worn and trash, and the reason that she wanted to return it was because she didn't like it, and she was being a little Karen, and she threw the biggest fit, yelling. So they ended up returning it. So that was one of the worst experiences ever, because my face turned red. Like, I wanted to go and cry, because like I did everything right, but then because a manager didn't have the balls to say no, they ended up returning it. And so, like I said, towards the end, I was very lenient, because I noticed that, why am I stressing myself about this if someone else is just going to return it? And so I have a lot of story times about that, but that one was a really one that kind of stuck with me. And after that, I really kind of stopped caring. The only time that I would care if it was a replica being returned. Now, because of the rise of TikTok, it started to become more of a reoccurring issue. Who was your favorite vendor? My favorite vendor was the Tory Burch vendor, because Tory Burch was my section, and Tory Burch is the love of my life as far as like the brand that I loved selling at Nordstrom. I love to sell Tory Burch Miller sandals. I love to sell Tory Burch handbags. I wear soft accessories. When we had ready to wear in store, ready to wear, Tory Burch was my favorite brand. So therefore my favorite vendor was obviously the Tory Burch vendor. Discounts 20 or 33. What was the most stressful part about working in retail? Is just the hours. The hours were very inconvenient, and I wanted to live my best gay homosexual life. What was your worst experience with a bad customer? I kind of gave 2, so on worst customer experiences, but oh my god, I have stories for days. Did you get discounts as soon as you started working there? Yes, my discount started working the day that I worked there, or I think even but when I got hired, I think my discount worked. I'm not sure, but the day that I worked there, I bought something. Oh, a sweet SA named Andrea. She worked at Nordy's Galleria, and then Tori Lover. I've heard about her, but no, I don't know her. But I have heard about her. I am starting a visual merchandising course. In your opinion, do you like visual merch? I do, because sometimes I'll look at the Nordstrom merch, and no offense, I feel like HRH, it just didn't get the assignment, and it didn't get the vibe. I'd be like, let me re-merch everything, let me make sure everything looks good, because I would always re-merch the floor. I would always re-merch Marc Jacobs, MCM, Kate Spade. When I was super bored, I would take off all the toy, and I would like move it all around. So for me, I like visual merchandising, but I would just visual merchandise my own home or my own style. Or if one day I had a store or a boutique, or if I had my brand inside of a department store or a store, I would merchandise my own things. But for me to merchandise other people's things, probably not, unless if it's not myself or one of my friends or family, or somebody needs my assistance. Most challenging part of the day, how did you get through it? Oh my god, the days where I would get so sleepy, or the days where I would go out to like a party and I didn't get home till 5 in the morning and I had to be at work at 7 in the morning sharp. Sometimes I'd be like a little late. Oh my god. And then that would take like 2 Red Bulls and I would like be like hyper, and then you get that bad crash. Oh my god, when I got sleepy was probably the hardest time working at Nordstrom. Other than that, it was perfectly fine. And when I lived in Grand Prairie, when I worked at North Park, it would be like a 30-minute commute back and forth. And those days where I would close, I would get super sleepy, and I'd always have to stop like at Racetrack or something, and I'd always have to buy like a Starbucks coffee or like a Red Bull just so I could stay up so I don't crash home. But now I live in Dallas, so it was only like less than a 15-minute commute to my job. To work and how long? 3 years. I worked at Park 12, Arlington, Rack, and then I work at Nordstrom, North Park, Dallas. Expected to wear designer for your job, or is it your passion? You can wear whatever you want. For me, I will say I always wore designer. It was always my passion. And since I did sell designer items, a Givenchy handbag, Alexander McQueen handbag, when we had Ferragamo or Burberry, you would always want to dress the part, because once you dress the part, you are the authority. You are the one that knows the product. So when a client comes, especially around holiday season, people that don't really shop at or buy handbags very frequently, when you came in, you know, knowing, so if I came in with the Versace short, and you know, I came dressed as the part and I was nice and polite, you kind of have an authority, and the people would really believe what you're talking about. Versus some days where I would come super casual, where I would wear a Nina Bing sweatshirt and I would wear a baggy oversized Levi jeans and like a sneaker. I wouldn't get the same attention with customers versus when I actually dressed up, or when I wore maybe designer, or I was like dressed up in like a blazer with jeans, like all cute stuff. You can wear whatever you want as long as it's within dress code, but I would say the dress code was very lenient on me personally. So I could wear jeans, I could wear Hermes sandals, I could even wear, like, I wore my Chanel Dad sandals to work. I could wear whatever I wanted, my Rose sandals. I could wear, prior to COVID, I was allowed to wear shorts. When we got back, I was not allowed to wear shorts, but I would wear whatever I wanted as long as it looked good. Even like this tank top, if I styled it with pretty trousers, I was allowed to wear it. My Wolford bodysuit that was a little sheer, allowed to wear it. As long as everything was styled correctly, it looked proportional and it looked good, I was allowed to wear it. Versus some of my other coworkers may have not had that luxury. Maybe not on like my department, but like in other departments, they may not have that luxury as I did, because I would really get away with wearing whatever I wanted to wear. And no one has ever questioned me about what I wore to work, even if it was like maybe like not like the typical attire. So that's what I did like about working in Nordstrom, because I believe at Neiman's you have to wear like a suit and trousers, and Dillard's you have to wear a full men's suit. Like, that's ancient. Let people wear where they want to wear. I want to wear this fun Versace shirt, and I want to sell you some Key Australia sunglasses. I want to sell you some Maui Jim sunglasses with my personality. So that's one thing I did like about Nordstrom, is that you were allowed to express yourself the way you wanted to within reason. But I did really like that about it, and I always felt my polish, and I always felt super confident. And from previous jobs, like I know Mark, I had to wear the ugly green shirt, or a Chick-fil-A uniform, or a Victoria's Secret, wearing nothing that's branded. I love that I had a sense of character, wearing whatever I wanted to wear at work. You get your discount as an employee of Nordstrom. If yes, how many %? Good luck. 20 or 33. More videos in Spanish, más videos en español coming soon. Ever had someone pay for an expensive item in ones or coins? I did not, but when I worked at Nordstrom Rack, I remember this lady wanted to buy a $200 gift card, and she literally had a bucket with the change, and she paid with it with one of my coworkers. I was like, not be me, but I don't judge people. Like, you know, it's your business, and you know, I'd much rather you pay with coins, because I much rather, versus you taking it to Coinstar, because then they take, I think, like a 3% fee or whatever. They take 10%. You lose 20 bucks. I'd rather, you know, that day we were slow, so I was like, you know what? Let her pay in coins. Let her live her best life. Let her buy whatever she wants to buy. So that did happen, but not with me. How much was the discount? $20.33. Did you ever make commission, or was it just straight cut hourly? 100% commission. Rack associates get regular discounts at Nordstrom's. Yes, you did get 20 or 33, but at the rack, all employees got 20 regardless of what if you're all-star manager, it was 20 straight across. And during Christmas, your 20 turned into 30 and your 33 turned into 40. And when I had 40, best believe I bought a bunch of stuff. Question, I met you at the store and you were a delight. Oh, thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. What was your yearly salary? I did not make salary at Nordstrom, but I would say I made a teacher salary my first full year working at Nordstrom, and I'll make a whole video on that. I'm pretty sure I made a full year teacher salary when I was like 18, and that's why I've been living my best gay life. I invested it right, I put my money in right things, and that's why I'm living my best life right now. So I made I made about 50K. What's your yearly salary? I did not make a salary, I was all commission, but it's really good. And when I saw my forms at the end of the year, I made a pretty decent amount of money because, like I said, it was one of the top Nordstrom's in the company, and you're at the right department with the right team, and you know, things happen. So I will make a video on that. Did you start working retail at 17 at Kohl's? How are the benefits? I did not have any benefits working at Nordstrom, no life insurance or anything. Everything is through my parents. I have, well, my dad, dental, life insurance, everything is through my parents until I turn 26. So I never have to worry about that, and I never have to pay for that. My parents pay for that. Is the only thing my parents pay for is my life insurance and all that type of like dental, health, they got it. And every time I have to get work done or anything, they always pay for it. Other than that, I pay for everything myself. Stalker stories, please. So I did mention in one of the previous videos that I did have like people kind of come up to me. I would just have like people like call and be like in different, like the same person calling different. Is there a Sergio working there? Or what do you mean? I want to know his schedule. Well, when is he coming in? And it would be like, it would be weird, and a lot of my coworkers would be like, they would be rude about it, and it was never clients, because personally my true clients had my personal phone number. And I know in other videos when people work luxury stores are like, don't call me on my day off or whatever. I was always nice, you know, I don't have any children, I'm young, I don't care. If you want to text me your purchase that you bought from me and you're wearing it and it's my day off, I best to believe I want to see it. If you texted me, oh, this happened to my bag, best believe text me on my day off, I don't care. And if I have the time, I will reply to it. So no one, and anyone that knew me personally had my personal phone number and could text me and call me. So when it started to become more of an issue, I did tell all my coworkers, there's not a Sergio secret working there. There's not a Sergio working there. If anybody asks, do not disclose any personal information about me at all. If they say I'm employed there, please say no. Towards the end, I said, do not take it personal. To all my coworkers, I'm no soy creído nada, pero just to avoid issues, we are just going to say there's no Sergio working in this department, period. Because the people that really needed to contact me had my personal phone number, and they could text me at any given moment. First, about my transition from the restaurant hospitality to retail. Any tips and advice? You're going to be very shy when you go into retail, especially if it's commission. I was very shy when I first started working there. All my coworkers would say, like, I was so nervous, like my first couple of days. I was standing behind a little counter, and I was like, do you want me to take the sensor off those Ray-Bans? Do you want to try that Toy Birch bag on? Do you want to try that Ferragamo bag on? I was so shy, so give yourself time. It's definitely gonna give you, it's gonna take a lot to warm up to selling. Like right now, I'm a professional, girl. I can make somebody buy this used $100 candle and pay full price for it. I am a pretty good salesperson. That's one thing about me, but it did not take, I was never ever, I didn't start off perfectly, but I would say it's gonna take some time. But I would say once you go to retail, or especially a little bit higher retail, you don't really want to go back to food or anything, because retail is just like a lot more cleaner. You don't smell like food, you know, your skin is a lot healthier. So for me, my tips is just give yourself time, girly. You got this. How did you deal with the competitives in sales? For me, like I said, I was always a team player. I said God always got me, and I always said God, karma is real. So I always did the right thing, even if it meant having to bite my tongue in certain situations. So if someone didn't save my sale, and so the rule was, at least in our department, if it's a light, very light item, so if it's a Saint Laurent sunglass, but it's another Saint Laurent sunglass, you're supposed to save the sale no matter how long you take care of with them. If it's, you know, a Toy Birch handbag, but it's very similar, like a flat back style, or Fleming in another color, you're expected to save that sale. But you know, maybe if you turn that Kate Spade customer into a Toy Birch customer, or a Toy Birch customer into a designer handbag customer, you could take that sale if they were not there, or you tried to contact them during their lunch, you could take that sale. And so for me, that was something that I didn't like or appreciate a lot of my coworkers prior to COVID, because the atmosphere definitely changed after COVID. Everybody's more chill, everybody respects each other, but it was very, very competitive before COVID. It was super, super, super competitive, and I would have to bite my tongue in a lot of situations, but like I always said, I always had a smile. If I was upset, you know, I would go take a break, let my frustration out, and I'd be back into showtime and I have to sell. So for me, competitiveness was there, but it wasn't that bad. But also, I would say I could also hold my own too, and for the most part, a lot of the management really liked me, so I always necessarily got my way in whatever I kind of wanted, in a sense. Like, if I made a complaint, it would be heard about and people would make it known, but that would be very, very few far in between. I was very nice, very sweet, but when I have to be mean and ugly, I will be. But that side never really came out of me. It probably came out of me 2 or 3 times my entire time working there, and it was because I had to put people in their place, and when I put people in their place, they automatically stop. But as far as other coworkers, going back and forth prior to COVID, now it's a lot more chill. But prior to COVID, there was a lot of drama on the floor. But for me, I kind of excluded myself from that. I just be like, hey, I'm mutual with everybody, I get along with everybody. If you don't like her or you don't like him, that's y'all's problem. I'm gonna be nice to everybody, period, because I'm here to make money, I'm here to educate the client, and I'm here to live my best gay life. So I really wasn't here for a lot of the drama. Do you ever try and prevent something you like from being sold so you could buy it? No, but I do have a story time. So there was this lady, she was like Russian, she had this Saint Laurent bag that she bought a year ago. It was brand new, it had everything on it, and it was during designer sale season. It was actually this bag right here, and it had 33% off at the time. So I went to the bag here, and I remember I looked at the receipt because she was debating if she wanted to exchange it out for another handbag, and so I scanned it and it was 60% off, and it was $1,076, and they had 33% off of it, and she was kind of going back and forth, and so I didn't convince her to get another bag because her other friend was with her, but I was kind of leaning towards her friend to make her get the other bag so she could return that bag that she paid full price for, and so I could buy it on sale. So that did happen one time, but I didn't really pressure her. She did exchange it out herself, and when that bag came out, I told my coworker, I'm like, make your day because you haven't had any sales. Ring this up for me, and here's a cute little $700 or $800 sale on 8% commission, period. But that did happen just once. But I was super happy with that bag. What did you like best about working in retail? What did you hate the most? I love the people, I love the money, I love the sales, I liked everybody. I pretty much got along with everybody. I never had any problem with beef. So I liked everything. What I hated the most were just rude and disrespectful and entitled customers. Like I said, I would not tolerate that. I would literally walk out in front of your face and that be it. Or the long hours were probably the things that I didn't like the least. I used to want to work retail, but then realized hours were bad. How did you manage that? Yeah, the hours are bad. Like I would say, I did have the better end of the stick when it came to hours. I did have a little bit more priority, a little bit more of a veteran. So for me, I did kind of, if I wanted a weekend off, I could have it if I was within reason. But I know other stores, there's like, I know for example, if you work at Dillard's, you have to work January 1st or you're fired, or you have like an exact medical reason. It's not as excessive. Or during anniversary sale, you could get days off, you could take PTO if it was within reason, because I know like in other places like at Dillard's, they're so strict on their employees, like on a super tight leash. That could never be me. I can never allow a company to ever control me like that. So for me, it was good, but I will say I did have a little bit of a better luxury, and I did have the better end of the stick through the entire experience, because I did work at a top Nordstrom. I sold a lot, I knew all the product knowledge, so that would reflect how I was treated at Nordstrom. OMG, you work for the company too. I love watching your videos. Also, congrats on becoming All-Star. Once an All-Star, always an All-Star. That's the tea, you get it. Mwah. Are you no longer at Nordstrom? No, I am not. What was it like having to work at Nordstrom's and having to work on YouTube? The balance was there. It was very, very much there, especially when I worked 40 hours a week. It would be a little rough because I would want to, focus a little bit more on YouTube and stuff, but on one of my days off, maybe I don't want to go and do shopping vlogs. Maybe I want to have fun. I want to go by the pool. And so I feel like it started to become like, which one do you want more and which one's more lucrative? Because at the end of the day, I'm being honest, this is with any job. This is just not Nordstrom. You could get fired at any given moment in time. I could get fired at any moment in time just for having affiliate links, or just because for whatever reason. It's very hard to get fired by Nordstrom, by the way. I'll say that coming through my experience. Kind of had like to pick one. The balance was good in the beginning, but as I started to love and have more passion for YouTube, obviously I'm going to choose YouTube because at the end of the day, I'm my own boss on YouTube. Yes, YouTube can disappear, but I have other platforms or other streams of income that I'll be fine. But I will say it was good in the beginning, but especially once it started, after like February, I made it into a mental conclusion that I had to let one go, and which one was going to be the one that was going to be the most lucrative for me. And we all know that Nordstrom'S, we all know that YouTube or social media is going to be the most lucrative one, because at the end of the day, you are yourself and you are not controlled by anybody. Not that I was ever controlled by Nordstrom, because I wasn't, but like I said, at the end of the day, you could get replaced in any second. And that's just not Nordstrom, that's Saks, Neiman's, Corbett, Burberry, a doctor, whatever. You can get replaced easily if you're an employer. And if you work for yourself, you are your own boss and you get to do everything you want. So it was hard to challenge at the end, and I'm very, very happy with the decision that I made. High fashion brand is not worth it. It just depends what's worth it to you. Some people found it very much valuable to buy a full price Givenchy handbag or a Christian Louboutin handbag. Some people don't find it valuable. So it just always depends the value that you see within fashion brands and the meaning and the behindness of you. Some people put Chanel on a high pedestal. I personally don't. So it's always going to depend on what you value it. I got offered a job at Louis Vuitton as a sales associate. What are your thoughts? First of all, congratulations. I would say if it's your first luxury retail, or if you always wanted to work for the brand, just try it out. And if you don't like it, you could always find something else. That's my advice for you is, congratulations, try it out, see how you like it. And if it's not for you, there's plenty of places that would love to hire you. But congratulations on getting your job at Louis Vuitton. I'm really happy for you guys. Those are going to be my Q&A on me working luxury retail, some of my answers that I gave for you guys. Hope you guys like this. Definitely let me know if you want to see a part 2, because I would love to make a part 2 of this. And I gave a little bit of juicy tea, but I will be doing more videos like this. So make sure to subscribe, give this video a great thumbs up. Hasta la próxima video. And how do we feel about this Jennifer Lopez fantasy? Because I am here for it, and I just love how the buttons, oh my god, the Medusa buttons, go with the earrings. These are one of my last purchases from Nordstrom, but I love this fantasy moment. You'll see this when I bought this in the Houston vlogs very soon, before or after this video is out. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I love each and every single one of you, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye guys, and take care.